Asantemaso TV. Yes, so Mosompa.
May I please beg indulgence to please rise for praise. Our help is in the name of the Lord who made heaven and earth. O God, our Heavenly Father, we are grateful to you and we thank you for the gift of our lives. We thank you for this day, this moment, and most of all for making it possible for us to gather for this memorable lecture in this noble and prestigious university and the academic prowess of this noble and prestigious university. You have protected, guided and kept all of us safe in mind and body to this day. Continue to give us your blessings and resources so that we may be able to offer solutions to our societal problems, make our communities and our nation a better place, and improve the lot of your people. You always choose dedicated, hardworking and selfless men and women to serve you and your people in various capacities in our nation and university. We have gathered here to remember and celebrate one of such, Obeng. We are grateful to you for gifting him to his family, our nation, this university and mother church. We thank you for the knowledge, the talent and expertise you endowed him. And we are also grateful to you for all that you used to accomplish for us in our lives as a family, a university, and a nation. May his sacrifices, honesty, excellence, and steadfastness inspire us always in our life. In your wisdom, you called him to yourself. Continue to grant him rest in your heavenly bosom, together with all the faithful departed. Thank you, Lord, for the safe arrival of all our guests, and for making it possible for us to have this remembrance lecture in honor of him. We bless your name for all the effort that have gone into making this august occasion a reality. We thank you for our resource personnel, and we thank you for our guest speaker, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, former President of the Republic of Ghana and the presidential candidate of the National Democratic Congress. We thank you for all that you have used him to accomplish in the life of our dear nation Ghana, for humanity, and even the desire to do more. Lord, use him to bless this august occasion with an inspiring lecture. Bless us as we entrust this remembrance lecture to you, and guide us in your watchful care. May your spirit be in our midst to grant us a memorable lecture. Continue to shower your blessing upon each and every one of us witnessing this memorial day. May we experience your blessings in our life. We make all these prayers through Christ our Lord. Amen.
A Christian, he was a devout Catholic. So it is no wonder that we begin this program with a Catholic prayer. It is important that we get to do that. I call Miss Cleopatra Azantio to introduce the church. And my question is, the interest in Cleopatra is one of her students. She's a law student, final year law student. Cleopatra,
Thank you very much. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon once again. My name is Cleopatra Azantio. I'm a final year law student, and I deem it a great privilege to introduce the chairperson for today's event, who I have also happened to listen to and have learned a lot from when we chaired the Chancellor's Week celebration debate on chieftaincy as a sine qua non for national development. The chairperson of today's event is the president and founder of the Foundation of Orthopedics and Complex Spine. After leaving Okokwari School in 1971, Nana Professor immigrated to the United States and completed his undergraduate studies at Brooklyn College of the City of the University of New York, where he received a Bachelor of Science, summa cum laude, in chemistry. He further went to receive his Doctor of Medicine degree from the Columbia University's College of Physicians and Surgeons in 1980. For Best Clinical and Best Science Research and Process were awarded to him in 1989, 1999, 2002, and 2013 by the Scoliosis Research Center. Please let's give a round of applause. Other notable awards that he was presented with include the Philip D. Wilson Award for Outstanding Teacher in 1998 by the Hospital for Special Surgery, the Distinguished Alumnus Award in Brooklyn College, and the Humanitarian Award in 2004 by the American Academy of Orthopedic Surgeons. Ladies and gentlemen, Professor Boachiedi received the Lifetime Achievement Award from the Hospital of Special Surgery in 2013, and he was also featured on the CNN's African Voices as the Ghanaian doctor transforming spine surgery in 2016. Later on, he was inducted into the Global Medical Mission Hall of Fame in 2016, and in the same year was awarded for his outstanding philanthropy in Ghana. He has gone on to win 12 World National and Correct Complex Spine Deformity, and he is also an inventor who holds special patents in devices used for spine surgery. In 2020, he was installed as Otumfuo Hiahene at the Militia Palace, and he is the current board chairman of the Otumfuo Osei II Foundation. Earlier in February, this Yao and Kwame. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I introduce to you our chairperson, and with a standing round of applause, can we all stand? Nana Professor Otumfuo Boachiedi Hiahene II.
Thank you very much for the wonderful introduction. Good evening, everyone. Your Excellency John Mahama, former President of the Republic of Ghana. Vice Chancellor Professor Akosia Dixon, Mrs. Rosemond Obeng, Professor Isiama, Chairman of the Planning Committee, former Vice Chancellor, deans gathered here, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Dr. Sir Paul Victor Obeng, also known to us for whiles, and we have to work with him a little bit. He was N28 in Okokwai School. This was in 1964 when I entered Okokwai as G8, Form 1. Now, Okokwai was very digitalized before digitalization became a byword in recent times. And thanks to the foresight of our founding Catholic priest, Father Prez, he realized that there could be a whole bunch of Caucasians in one class. And since there were 7 names confused to persons, he figured there must be my name. When I mentioned to my friend I was coming to really obey, oh, N28? Yes. N28 was in St. James' house. So in 1960, when I entered G8, I was at St. John's house. So with the number is there here and the class of a student. When I entered Form 1 as a freshman, at the bottom of the Otumfuo, he was at the helm of his class in Form 5. And he served diligently at the Okokwai School. He was a very academically gifted student. He was also a great sportsman. And he captained the Okokwai sports team, the cadet corps, to beat Federal College in the Sudan. He left his mark to him again through my dear friend, Dr. Fifi Ellis, at Trust Hospital who I happened to treat as a patient, and he was his dear friend at Tema. So I will sit with PB and Dr. Ellis in the Tema house, and we'll commiserate together on the past, and he will tell me all about what has happened in my absence from Ghana between 1971 and 2014. For now, you're all welcome to soak in the messages that will be delivered about our dear Dr. Sir Paul Victor Obeng. And on this note, I gladly accept to chair this commemorative memorial lecture. When I mentioned to Otumfuo that I was coming this afternoon, he sent his utmost greetings to the family and to His Excellency, to all of you here, that he wished he could be here, but as you all know, his plate is full. And he said, give my regards to Kojo Obeng's wife, Rosemont. That's Ohene's message to you. Thank you very much.
Hiahene, we are most grateful to you for accepting to chair this function for us. We are thankful to you. But Madam Vice Chancellor, it is not for any reason that we allow Hiahene to sit beside you. You heard his CV. So if your medical school needs someone like that, now that we have a chairman safely in the chair, we will now invite our hostess to welcome us to the University of Choice, the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. I hope the others are listening.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Your Excellency, Mr. John Dramani Mahama, former President of the Republic of Ghana and the presidential candidate of NDC. Chairman of the occasion, Nana Professor Oheneba Wachieje Wahene II Hiahene. Professor Jane Nana Opoku Ajima, former Vice Chancellor of UCC and also former Minister of Education, and the running mate of the National Democratic Congress. Mrs. Rosemont Obeng, Ambassador Kwame Sarah, is hearing present in this great hall, and there are many, many of you, so forgive me, I wouldn't be able to go through the tall list. You are all duly recognized. Most certainly the chairman of the planning committee for this very important memorial lecture, Professor S.O.S. Siam. Members and definitely the chairman of the University Council, vice chancellors from sister universities, past vice chancellors and pro-vice chancellors, and I'm recognizing in a very special way my own boss, Professor Obri Danso. You're welcome, sir. Pro-Vice Chancellor, Registrar, Members of Parliament present, Provosts of Colleges, Deans and Directors, Heads of Department, Members of Convocation, Senior and Junior staff, ladies and gentlemen, very well represented here from across Ghana, and most especially from the NDC fraternity. I greet all of you. Our friends, thank you very much. Our friends from the media cannot be left out. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is with great delight and honor that I welcome you all to the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, the best university in this country. You better clap to that. And of course, to this memorial lecture to commemorate the life and legacy of the late Mr. P.V. Obeng, former chairman of the University Council, on the 10th anniversary of his passing. Today, we gather to pay tribute and remember the invaluable contributions that this great son of the land, the late P.V. Obeng, made to our prestigious university, to his nation, to the continent of Africa, and of course, to the world. I would, however, with the permission of the chair, keep it very, very brief by saying that it is very important that we are devoting today to honor this great man. And we thank all of you for making time for this occasion, and especially we thank His Excellency for making time for this lecture. We know how very busy it is for him, but he made time to be here to honor this wonderful man who has served his country so well. I thought you were going to clap for His Excellency. Thank you. Mr. P.V. Obeng was a prominent Ghanaian engineer, politician, and statesman. And he worked so hard and contributed immensely to various engineering projects across the country. He was indeed, and still is, a cherished alumnus of this great and noble university, and graduated in 1972 with a first-class honors as the hall president, and subsequently became the SRC president in 1971. In 2009, he was appointed the chairman of the University Council, a position he held until 2014. During this period, we are able to attest to the huge transformation and growth that he brought to this university. His engagement with the university indeed was marked by a blend of visionary leadership and practical engineering expertise, ensuring that KNUST remained a leader in science and technology education in Africa. In recognition of his outstanding contribution to this great university, the university conferred on him an honorary doctorate in 2013. Indeed, the hard work and efforts of our former council chair left an indelible mark on us as a university, contributing significantly to its ongoing success. We are very, very grateful to this wonderful personality who shared everything that he had with us. Let me, once I have the opportunity, commend all friends, and I've said that already, also a former council chair. I think I will go to pause. Can we all clap for all the great people of this great family? Thank you very much. As we gather here today for this lecture to pay a glowing tribute to his lasting impact, may we all remember the selflessness, dedication, and commitment with which Mr. P.V. Obeng for your exemplary leadership. We will forever cherish your memory and the huge contributions to this great and noble institution, to your country, to the continent, and to the world. May we all be inspired by his kind leadership that focused on the provision, tender care, compassion, and comfort for the people that he served so year. And may his gentle soul continue to rest in perfect peace. I'm not able to end this welcome without showing appreciation to the chairman and the managing committee of this very important lecture. Professor Isiama and your team, we say thank you for a great job. Again, today deserves a big round of applause. Thank you very much. Thank you. And once again, I just want to say Aqua to the best university in Ghana. Thank you all very much.
And this person is someone who knows PV very, very well. He was last in the PNDC. He chaired the Cocoa Evacuation Committee. If you don't know about this one, you will not know the kind of person he is. This was the heat of the revolution, when we had to evacuate cocoa to the ports in order to end foreign exchange. And this was the person who handled that in those days. He's also been an ambassador to so many countries. He's been a Minister of Agriculture and so on. I think I'll bore you if I continue talking about this man. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Mr. Kwesi Akpor.
Thank you very much, Mr. MC, Professor. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, standing with the established protocol of acknowledgement, let me also thank you all for this turnout to honor the memory of a remarkable individual on the solemn occasion of the 10th anniversary of the passage of the man called Victor Obeng. Today, we are gathered here not to mourn, but to celebrate the indelible mark left by PV, his legacy of integrity, of compassion, of resilience, of eloquence, and of public service continue and should continue to inspire us all, touch the lives of many, and I dare say too many of us. His unwavering dedication and commitment to his family, to his alma mater, Mahama University of Science and Technology, to his community, to his church and TV. Ladies and gentlemen, that is why we are gathered here today. In closing, let us honor the memory of PV by living our lives with purpose, compassion, and resilience. May his legacy serve as a constant reminder that even in the face of adversities, love, kindness, and selflessness prevail, and that one individual can make a difference. And may we find strength and healing in the collective embrace of our shared memories of the man called Victor Obeng. Thank you very much.
Paul Victor Obeng. You can't say too much about this man.
Today we celebrate the 10th anniversary of his son, who became the icon of the family, the patriarch, the role model, a peacemaker, and a proud Catholic. Paul Victor Obeng, a committed Christian, believed that everything started and ended with God, and thus found purpose in him. Consequently, PV's life became a purpose-driven one. His purpose was profoundly expressed not only by what he achieved, but also by who he was and the legacy he left. A legacy of love, tolerance, and heart. PV was born into the royal Greatwell family of Adanse, Ayase, and Akotre in Akemoda on the 19th day of August 1947. His father was the late Mr. James Edward Obeng of the Royal Essetre of Islam, and his mother was Mrs. Mary Obeng, popularly known as Mami Tufie of the Royal Greatwell family of Adanse Ayase. PV and his siblings enjoyed. He began his primary education at Ashimoda, but later, upon the request for Hiahene, who was an educationist, he would be separated from his siblings to live with him and continue his basic education. P's high level of academic performance and solid foundation was recognized very early. It is therefore not surprising that he was able to achieve what many marvel at. He attended the Popular Secondary School in Kumasi and was a proud attaché. At the Popular, he was a member of the school's hockey team, where he met a lifelong friend, Dr. Ivan Skamfo, who was also an ardent hockey player. He matriculated at Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology in Kumasi, and was among the pioneer group of students of the pre-science program where he studied mechanical engineering. He was a passionate member of the Tanga Hall and served as the hall president at one point. At Yale University, he was an active member of the SRC, also serving as actually began. He strongly believed in non-discrimination and was a committed social democrat. PV earned his Bachelor of Science Mechanical Engineering degree, graduating with first-class honors, and became a fellow of the Ghana Institution of Engineers. His first job after graduation was with United Africa Motors.
Indeed, it is now time to praise the great and famous one. When you listen to PV's biography, you know that it's indeed time to praise the great and famous one. We are thankful to God that we had PV to live with. But who is missing PV the most? We are his friends, we are his brothers, we are his sisters. We miss PV for what he was, but there was one person who will miss him the most. And at this moment, I want to invite that person. I thank you for the
ambassadors and diplomats. Unlike Hiahene, what is the full title? The chairperson of the occasion, former members of government, the leadership of the NDC, the clergy, all protocols duly observed. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Good afternoon. I thank the Almighty God for the gifts of our lives today. With God's divine grace and mercy, we celebrate the life, lasting legacy, and the 10th anniversary of the passing of my dear husband, a father, a brother, an uncle, and a statesman. Engineer said Dr. Paul Victor Obeng, who was popularly known as Bibi, a man who served his family, community, and country dignity for the benefit of the present and future generations. These lectures allow us to inspire many to also live a life of service, education, community, and unity. As we hear and ponder over thoughtful insights from esteemed facilitators, I wish to highlight a profound trait of my loving husband, thus his humility and wisdom. Despite his status and influence, PV possessed a remarkable blend of humility and wisdom. This virtue was key to his success. From his daily life, I learned that the true currency for acquiring riches, fame, and power is meekness and humility. Proverbs 22:4. He never allowed applause or status to overshadow his love for people and his dedication to service. Talking about his humility, I want to share a story with you, if you don't mind. Now I was speaking Tree. I remember when PV was at NDPC, chairman of NDPC. One day, he was I saw him go to work and he was just sitting. He always sits at the front side, the driver's side. Then I realized that when who said Otumfuo, he sat there with his briefcase together with his writing notes. I mean, when he's going for lectures, or show speeches, that's why they was traveling, within that small space. I said, PV, why don't you sit at the back so that you have enough space, to do all that you want to do. And so she went said, I said, driver, to come and call you. Into a point, so people can't know as I want to, because I think better said, so that you have enough room, spread your speech or your notes. Sometimes he will take his tea at the same time. So why don't you do that? Just go back, relax. There's nothing wrong with that. So one day, when I was going to work, I said, "What's my career? 17th." I was what Ferry said? What's wrong with sitting at the back of a car? I remember we were going for a visa to visit one of our children in the States. And so one day I was in the house, he told me, "What's come?" I said, "Well, I'm going to the American embassy." So he told me, so now I was saying, not to talk president who helped him to get a visa. Also, this time he's going to go himself because they are this slow. So you're quite a family with the line. And this time he was back. It was like, I was looking at him. That what is in the line? But he didn't mind. When the lady from the foreign affairs came, so when I had a guy, also what to decide. What to decide? What Chinese and China? Because like my from to acquire various departures, but this land. Then I inside for passports. What's the name of the line? So the primary parish then I said, this humility really humbled me. So it's really humbled me. That was key. When you talk about humility, that was key. The Bible teaches, blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. He inherited the earth, and all his blessings through his humility. Literally, for 35 years, the first business, the two tasks, outlines, deadlines, and demand schedules that he had to meet daily, weekly, and some for months. Despite these challenging schedules, he found time to perfectly blend his family, friends, and spiritual commitments. He will not trade spirituality for anything. He placed value on spiritual life and religious obligations strictly. Therefore, the government in various Catholic societies and confraternities of the Testament is unwavering faith. He believed passionately that in the potential of Ghana, he believed in the potential of Ghana. He was convinced that the nation's success depended on the growth of his own people. His sense of duty and national pride felt like a divine mandate. He understood that God had given him access blessings. Through his humility and dared himself to both God and men, always mindful of his own vanity. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, a message to us in the life of Phoebe that will run through the sands of time and spearhead his legacy, his humility, and esteemed facilitators who have contributed in making this lecture successful. I also hope all participants here in this room will leave with a deep sense of community and service. I would like to conclude with one of these hashtags, please. I quote, we must position ourselves to constitute a major source of wise counsel for political leadership. Unquote. Really, we miss you, we love you, we God continue to give you a restful place. Amen.
It is now time for us to listen to his friends, his family, people who work with him, people who walk and talk with him, people who were his colleagues. There's a short documentary that will be shown now. Let's pay attention and watch it. We'll continue after that. Thank you very much.
Born into royalty on August 19, 1947, Obeng's journey began in Akimota.
He was an extremely playful young boy. Even at that early age, he showed signs of extreme intelligence. He was very, very intelligent.
From his early education for Otumfuo Secondary School and academic studies at Otumfuo University, Obeng's brilliance shone through.
We were in the same house, St. James. PB was N28, and I was DM. I would say that he acquired these leadership skills and got promoted into a stable person whilst he was on the program. Because we were able to combine your studies collected practice during our speech and practice meetings. So it was something who really bring his back to question.
As a student on campus, he was the unseen big that we all know.
He was a man every time it was said, let us do good school first before us other start.
And the person that is easy to approach, and he's a person that accepts situations of impasse. He was able to make the environment lively wherever he found himself.
He was always right. I never found fault with his opinion on issues.
There is an incident which people thought that PB was a violent figure. It went through to everybody that PB went to the stage and held Dr. Bubuzia, handled him, and I will use this opportunity to say that it is never true.
Honorable Jose Japan, we became advisors when we were at the university, when I was the president of the student council, and he was the vice president of the council. He staged a lot of coup d'etats against me, but he was never successful.
He started his career at United Africa Motor, later joining Mankwasi Fisheries, where his integrity earned him high regard.
Makwasi, as usual, was the man
that everybody knew. He was loved by everybody and he was very hardworking.
At the time, PV and me and others joined Mahama, the company was going through a difficult time. Engineers were needed a lot. At that time, it's when PV Obeng and a few
advisor to the president, Jerry John Rawlings, shaping Ghana's political landscape.
Jerry John Rawlings' ability to pick first-class materials. And you know, PV was a first-class material.
What I learned from working with PV for 19 years was that as a politician, it pays to be disciplined. He was very, very disciplined.
When he came into government, you could see the level of intelligence. I mean, he was a deep-seated intellectual, not just an academic.
He was somebody that was nation first. Political parties' inclinations to political divide was not what it was about. And you will recall that when President Otumfuo was president of this nation, he gave him a role which was very unlike our kind of politics that we play in our country.
PV Obeng was intelligent, extremely intelligent. You know, his work at NDPC, it was about how can we get a proper plan.
Ladies and gentlemen, we also come to the point where I introduce the man who has the greatest job this evening. His job is to introduce somebody who doesn't need introduction. And how he does that, only he knows. The man to introduce our former president and flag bearer of the great MDC party, is someone who has paid his bills to the country. There is someone who worked and taught with PV one-on-one. An interesting thing is, when I came to the first year in this great university, he was my SRC president. Ladies and gentlemen, I invite Mr. Kwame Sarah Mensah.
President of Ghana University, my colleague ministers of state, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, members of the media. It is a simple honor for me to be asked to introduce the guest speaker of this momentous occasion, commemorating the 10th anniversary of the passing of a remarkable Ghanaian, Mr. P.V. Obeng. Madam Chair, I would plead that you give me a few more minutes and use this occasion to talk about an incident involving PV which occurred in this very hall 54 years ago. Humble as he was, PV was, after the incident, portrayed as a violent figure. During his time as SRC president in 1970, the university was confronted with the engineering crisis when all the Ghanaian lecturers of the Faculty of Engineering resigned. The lecturers argued that being professionals, we have to be paid higher salaries from their other colleagues. The Prime Minister then, Professor Hiahene, came to the university to explain the government's position as to why an engineering lecturer should not be treated. Once PV became a political figure, the narrative in this country has since been represented. And it intended that PV McDonald, the Prime Minister. As I stated in the documentary, this was a complete misrepresentation. Absolutely false and untrue. Because I was personally in this depot that day, and I was seated in the third row on my right. Professor Kuzia, the Prime Minister, with the Vice Chancellor, Dr. Ivan Sanford, and other dignitaries came in and they were seated on the stage here. As soon as Professor Kuzia got up to speak, people and the Katangis entered the hall through this entrance with the war songs and they walked across the great hall in front of the gate through this other door and went out of the great hall as the Catalese gradually. And for your information, Katanga then was named after a province in the Congo, which gave prominence during the Congo crisis. On no occasion did PV or any other student mount the stage to where Professor Kuzia and other dignitaries were sitting. Madam Chairman, with your kind permission, may I now get on course and introduce our guest speaker. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, can I have given you permission? You may all agree with me that Ghana is in a mess. and what can our guest speaker bring to stabilize the situation and lead us back to the frontal role we occupied in Africa and the world in the years gone by. Our guest speaker is trustworthy and reliable, an exemplar of integrity, which is very critical at this stage of our national political life. A unifier whose public service was performed without biases. His journey in life has taken him from Namibia through a graduate town experimental school, Achimota Primary School, and Ghana Secondary School Tamale before entering University of Ghana. Evander from Commonwealth War, he received a bachelor's degree in history and a postgraduate diploma in communication studies. He also studied at the Moscow Institute of Social Sciences, obtaining postgraduate degree in social psychology. He later worked as information culture and research officer at the Japan Embassy in Accra, and then at the anti-poverty NGO Plan International Ghana Country Office. Our guest speaker's interest in politics might have been influenced by the accomplishments of his father, Mr. Hiahene, a wealthy rice farmer and teacher who was the first member of parliament for West Gonja constituency and the first regional commissioner or minister in the First Republic under our illustrious leader, Osaji Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. Our guest speaker was the NDC member of parliament for Body Bamboy constituency from 1997 to 2009. A deputy minister and later Minister of Communications from 1997 to 1998. With such a varied and rich background, it will be unthinkable for him to have perceived a lower position later on in life and accept to be a driver's mate. He was accordingly selected by the Hiahene, our beloved Professor John Evans Atamelt, my international hockey colleague, to be his running mate and become a co-pilot, a strong governing partner and vice president of the Republic from January 2009 to July 2012. A very critical moment in our country's history on 24 July 2012, when the esteemed pilot, His Excellency President John Evans Atamelt, met his untimely death in mid-air. Our guest speaker successfully managed to safely land the aircraft when he became the President of the Republic. To serve as President of the Republic of Ghana till 7 January 2017. Madam Chairman, I'm sure I've already exceeded the time you gave to me. But then, God time is on my side, and they have to grant him some of his accomplishments during his tenure of office. Accordingly, I will be very, very serious. On the recovery, the guest speaker that took bold initiatives and we recall the forum at St. to forge a successful consensus homegrown fiscal consolidation program. At a time when the fundamentals were supposed to be weak, the Ghana city could not expose the guest speaker. And $1 was at 4 Ghana cedis, 22 pesos. Has been exposed, and $1 is going for 16.2 Ghana. Ghana's public debt covering the period from the First Republic and the authority of Dr. Kwame Nkrumah to January 2017 was Ghana cedi 127.18 billion. Our guest speaker managed to buy the following and many other projects from the loans he contracted out of the 127.18 billion. Kwame Nkrumah injected another flyover in the major cities and roads in Accra. Asphalt overlay of roads to regional and district capitals. Cocoa roads across the country. Expansion of the Hiahene and Mahama. Construction of Terminal 3 of Otumfuo International Airport. Construction desalination plants. Pump water expansion project. Accra Terminal water project. Water supply project. The 3-day water project covering Konomua. 3 number regional hospitals in Syria, Bolkatanga, 120-bed bridge hospitals expansion project. Number of institutional health facilities were also completed a total of 1,856 basic school projects under the schools and the tree program. 203 classroom blocks, including SHST blocks, eliminated the school shift system in major parts of the country. Confronted with a huge power crisis, our guest speaker never blamed any previous administration for not adding much power to the nation. Neither did he arrogantly ask Ghanaians to produce their own new subsidy revenue. Determination and intelligence deployed emergency plans and sped up the completion of all plans, resulting in the addition of more than 800 megawatts of power within 8 months. He also used an energy sector levy to restructure the legacy debt of the power utility, which helped stabilize the power situation. With a loan of 614.82 billion Ghana cedis contracted from January 2017 till June 2018, what do we see? Corruption, living in my village, Tanato, the only accomplishment I see since January 2017 in my area is the asphalting of the runway of the Sudani Expressway and the plan indicating the commissioning of the refurbishment by the President. Otumfuo, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, has President the even the Tsunami Ring Road project, started by the guest speaker, has been abandoned as suddenly begun. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen. I believe I've taken too much time, but it had to be said. I now have the singular honor of presenting to you our guest speaker, who is no other person than the former and next president of the Republic.
Even as the forum was ended, PB was beginning to plan the implementation of the great ideas and recommendations was actively engaged and conveyed the need for all Ghanaians to be included in the process moving forward. I first encountered PV when I began my political career more than 2 decades before, and today is more than 3 decades ago. You could not miss his energy and his intellect. He was engaging and driven, and from that moment in the early 90s, he became like a senior brother and a mentor to me, and also a role model. When I became a deputy minister and later minister for communications, he was always available to provide valuable guidance and direction when I needed such support. And I'll give one of the inspirations that he gave to me. In 1983, at the function, former President Rawlings, who was chairman of the PNC, had asked Ghanaians to boycott Apinoso because he said that Apinoso was doing politics with the money he made from Apinoso. And the media was outraged. And the person who went to interview was PV. And they said, why would Rawlings make such a very reckless statement? And that it's unfortunate that he made a statement like that. And PV said, oh, don't worry. Why are you taking this so seriously? Why are you guys all so heated? You know, Rawlings is a soldier, and soldiers sometimes come back acts. I was to face a similar situation when I was Minister of Communications. Otumfuo had traveled abroad, and he came back to Ghana, and he called on President Rawlings at the castle at the time to pay his courtesies to him before continuing diplomacy. And I listened and attended one of the new FM stations where some ethnic insults were exchanged. And Rawlings was very concerned about it, so he was talking to Otumfuo about it. And he kept throwing his left hand and speaking quite passionately. And so, like happened in the Abidjan case, the next day the media was fast, and I was raised with what Rawlings had said. And I took a cue from PV's book. And so I remember I was like, and they were asking me, why was Rawlings so discourteous with Otumfuo? And I said, oh, you know, we are not Otumfuo friends. But apart from that, he's a soldier, and so let's speak by that. And that filled the matter. So, PV was always there, and I needed support. When I became president, it was therefore logical for me to tap into his reservoir of knowledge and experience by appointing him as a senior presidential advisor in my government. Even from afar, his humanity, compassion, and dedication could be seen when you approached him. And yes, he was very approachable. He listened to you very well and displayed significant knowledge about everything you presented to him. It was not uncommon for PV to mount a podium, put aside any written speech that had been given to him, and deliver a spell-binding address as a presentation. And that's why I say he spoke off the cuff on any subject in the world. PV would just walk to the stadium and speak like he's an expert in that particular area. He was a man with a goal. His eloquence came with substance. He was a committed man with a mission. He was a connector with things into all sections of Ghanaian community. Transcending ethnicity, transcending faith, transcending political ideology, and any other differences that exist in our country. Many that we count on, especially when we found ourselves in difficult times. This was the PV I know, and this is the man about whom I stand here today to deliver this 10th anniversary commemorative lecture. And I start with PV, the boy, child, and the student. Nana Children, I'm informed PV was born on 19 August 1947. I'm further informed that PV passed the common entrance examination with ease and began admission to the prestigious Otumfuo Secondary School. At Otumfuo Otumfuo Secondary School, consistent with the alphanumeric tradition of academics, PV was officially known as N28. He was a brilliant student who particularly excelled in mathematics and the sciences. I call on all academics to always remember PV whenever you chant the inspirational Latin song, which is translated into English as "Into thy hands, O Lord." At Moon Square, he graduated a degree in mechanical engineering. PV was a tough but reasonable negotiator as SRC president. And I'm quoting Dr. Emmanuel Ampon, the then Vice Chancellor of the university. He spearheaded the university's collaboration with MSF. As a banda, I know what it means when Catholic members of the University Hall of News attest that PV was a dynamic and formidable student leader. Catholics add that PV's ideals and ideas provided a different leadership in student political activism, culminating in the legendary reshaping of student ideologies and advocacy on campus. PV, the mechanical engineer. Professionalism is not to be attained. A degree in a profession does not necessarily make one a professional. Sometimes it takes a very long time for one to be recognized as a professional in one's own profession. PV was a consummate professional. The moment he graduated from Lewis with his mechanical engineering degree, he was recognized as a professional mechanical engineer. First, he was snapped up by United African Motors, UAC. Then he was called up by Mahama Fisheries Limited. As high as PV climbed, he never abandoned NUST, his alma mater. He always worked to ensure that his alma mater flourished. In his political life, he facilitated the reference sponsorship of the construction of permanent buildings for NUST School of Veterinary Sciences. He spearheaded the university's collaboration with MSF, a Portuguese company registered in Ghana, to identify and develop infrastructure and other facilities to promote effective teaching and learning in the Mahama University of Science and Technology. For these and many other reasons, PV was decorated with an honorary Doctor of Science or DSc honoris causa degree. He was also appointed chairman of the governing council of this great university. PV became a politician. It was in the area of politics that PV left his invaluable and indelible footprints in the sands of time. As a young engineer with Pacific Fisheries at the end of the 1970s and the beginning of the 1980s, PV was thrust into the historic maelstrom of Ghanaian politics as one of the first civilians to join Flight Lieutenant Jerry John Rawlings and his band of determined revolutionaries in 1980. One of the most vivid brains of that PNDC administration. As chairman of the PNDC Committee of Secretaries, which is how the PNDC cabinet was known, PV made sure that every PNDC secretary was stripped into line, singing the same song and reading from the same hymn sheet. Although comparatively younger than many of the PNDC secretaries at the time, such as Dr. Obeng at Foreign Affairs, Wessi at Lands and Natural Resources, Wessi at Finance and Economic Planning, Justice D.A.K. Higgins at the Ministry of He commanded the respect of all these veterans and the seniors. He elegantly delivered on the bureaucratic mandate of the revolution that had been thrust upon his young shoulders. This is the political phenomenon, political colossus, the man PV that I speak of today. When he was promoted to full membership of the PNDC, PV showed his mettle in the numerous negotiations that he led Ghana's team to engage in with the World Bank and the IMF and other multilateral and bilateral organizations and agencies. PV, the mechanical engineer and former student leader, was at home in finance, in trade, industry, agriculture, and any of the other economic sectors. He was also a proponent in anti-corruption theory and practice, constitutionalism, decentralization, and other governance sectors. Being the engineer that he was especially at home in his own realm of transport and communications, in energy, in works and housing, roads and highways, and other engineering-related infrastructural sectors. He the NDC competition. Manager was born on June 10, 1992. He was there. Even before that date, he had been an active member of the group of PMC personalities that had prepared for and promoted the formation of the new party NDC. And that group he worked with included Chairman Jerry Rollins himself, Captain Koluchi Pata, Justice Pierre Faman, Ebo Pimia, Alain Mama Ikisu, Professor Pamela Aboy, Professor Kofi Abono, Kofi Totoli Nana Ponu and Rollins, Madame Sherry Aite, Mrs. Cecilia Johnson, and Nana Akudasi. When the National Democratic Congress was being decided on as the name of the party, PB was there. When the announcement emblem of the party was decided, PB was there. When the colors of the party, black, red, white, and green, were decided on, PB was there. And he was still there when the anthem of the NDC, Arise, Arise for Ghana, was being inducted. In other words, PB was integral to the formation of the NDC as a party. In his position in the constitutional era as presidential advisor on governmental affairs with the acronym PAGA, PHEA, as he was called, in President Rollins' first government of the Fourth Republic, PB performed as the de facto Prime Minister of Ghana, even though that position did not exist in the Constitution. Here also PB excelled so much so that he became the envy of some malcontents. Malcontents who found a way of representing the most ridiculous and ambitious untruths, but also fabricating stories about him. These rumors, malicious and fabricated untruths became so persistent that President Rollins was compelled to refer PB and three of his other appointees to the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice, TRIBE, for investigations. The outcome of the trial investigations was both revealing and vindicating. The Commission did not find any evidence to support the baseless allegations of corruption or impropriety against PB. Indeed, on page 49 of the 10th annual report of TRIBE, which was published in 1996, the Commission found that the allegations that PB owned a string of plush houses in a suburb of Accra worth billions of cedis was untrue. Chairman, we in the NDC do not place ourselves above the society. We are humble and honest enough to submit ourselves to investigating bodies if a basis for it arises. I've been out of office for more than 7 years and 7 months. No allegation of wrongdoing has been proven against me, including the baseless Airbus Mahama. Once again today, I say it's a pleasant feeling to start with dedicated. Another allegation that PB owned the soft drinks factory was also found to be untrue. According to the Commission, a careful study of PB's tax file, and that was his wife, showed that they had sufficient means to acquire the assets they owned. The Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice, therefore, exonerated them completely. In other words, on top of all the accolades people of PB, the tribe also added the accolade of integrity and incorruptibility. was unfortunate though that this was the event that made PV decide to resign from the first government of the Fourth Republic. PV's ultimate invitation, however, was contained in the tribute that President Rawlings wrote on the occasion of his death. PV working with presidents. Now let us PV's leadership qualities, inquiring brain and analytical rigor, and gave him the first 4 presidents of the Fourth Republic. As I've already elaborated, he was the presidential advisor on governmental affairs in President Rawlings' first administration in the Fourth Republic. President John Otumfuo, the second president of the Fourth Republic, appointed him chairman of the Board of Governors of the Ghana Investment Promotion Center. President John Otumfuo, the third president of the Fourth Republic, appointed him the chairman of his joint transition team in 2009. He also made him chairman of the National Government Planning Commission (NDPC) and chairman of the Government Council of this very university, Mahama University of Science and Technology. During my tenure as president of the Fourth Republic, not only did PV continue holding appointments that he had been given in the Mills presidency, but I also added the more honors position of senior presidential advisor. PV was the prime mover of the Century Forum, if you remember Century Forum. There was a forum that was proposed by him and several others in order to forge a consensus to come out with a home-rule fiscal consolidation program. And he was one of the prime members and one of the major resource officers, together with the late Dr. Obeng and several other meanwhile. It was after this forum when the synthesization of the results and reports of the Century Forum were taking place that one afternoon, as a shock, he dropped dead, when he had gone to the filling station. I felt lost because he had been the pivot in the whole Century process. It was only when Nimoy Thompson and Kisibutu came to me and told me that together with PV, we had finished the bulk of the work and that all we needed to do was now to put it together. And that even with PV's work, we would be able to write the home fiscal consolidation policy. And they did just that. But it is to his memory that that whole process eventually came out with the fiscal consolidation policy, which became the basis for the next IMF program in which we entered. Indeed, that fiscal consolidation program was taken hook, line, and sinker. The only thing that was changed in what we have recommended to do was that in the second year of the program, we were supposed to do zero central bank finances. And that is how in 2016, for the first time, our government financed its full budget and its expenditure from our own revenue without taking money. Because I'm sure that if PV had been alive, probably the Akufa would have found a role for him to play and do I doubt PV would have accepted? Lessons from the life and works of PV Obeng. There are many lessons to be learned from PV's life and work. Within the time constraints of this commemorative lecture, I mean the rich aspects of his life as I highlight my preferences. This dilemma about which lessons from PV's life and works I should share with you led me to what Children wrote in the novel Arrow of God. Achille stated that whenever people have asked me which among my novels is my favorite, and for me in this case, which of the lessons from PV's life is my favorite, I'm paraphrasing it. Achille continues, and I quote, I've always debated the direct answer, being strongly of the mind that in sheer insidiousness, that question is still comparable to asking a man to list his children in the order in which he loves them. A paterfamilias word is sought will, if you must speak about peculiar if he must, will speak about the peculiar attractiveness of each other instead of which is a slavery child. And I follow the example of the celebrated African life activity and speak about the peculiar attractiveness of some of the many attributes that we can take from these. And the first lesson is that there's a lesson for young people, our youth and students. Student activism is good, but it must be born out of conviction and must be measured and reasonable. As Vice Chancellor Dr. was unconfident that as SRS Secretary, he was a tough, and the key word is he was a tough but reasonable negotiator for students' rights. Sometimes student leaders and student activists take the leadership role and activism to extremes. Some even at the risk of their academic pursuits, wrecking their future and careers in the process. And that is why I'm so glad and proud that I see that leading members of the NEC were our student leaders and student activists. Of course, some former student leaders can be found in other political parties. And I'm proud that as a student leader myself, being SRC Secretary in the University of Ghana in my second entry in the age. The second lesson, and I said, I'm sure that student and youth activism can be balanced with serious academic pursuits. PV, despite his youth leadership and role and his student activism, emerged as a top-class engineer, coming out of the first class. Third, PV's life and work teaches us that it is possible to combine politics with professionalism effectively. Here I will share a quote from the tribute of the Ghana Institute of Engineers written in typically engineering English. And I quote, "We will be consoled by the fact that we dumped all the pressure expressed in every comment, which at the same time we compressed and expanded the volumes of all individual comments of work as necessary to accomplish the results and achievements of the system, something which will always remain an inspiration to the Ghana Institute of Engineers, whatever it means, Prez and all that. In this regard, I'm also reminded of a story told to us by Professor Mahama, a close friend and working colleague of Kenya, from the first days of the 31st December Revolution. The two of them, together with another civilian colleague, the legendary Chachu Chikata, defied the booming guns at Burma camp and entered border barracks to help their rebellion stabilize the revolution. And this is what was Ahoy told us. And I quote, "One of PV's first major assignments at the beginning of the revolution was to join a team led by the then Chief of Defense Staff, Brigadier General Joseph Lulu Benson, and including today's Professor Kwame and the then Chief Accountant of the now defunct Ghana Airways and its space, to travel to London to negotiate with the U.S. aircraft manufacturing company McDonnell Douglas for the successful release of the brand new custom manufactured DC-10 aircraft that had been ordered by the Control Demand Administration for that. We see none of the rest of them, the team, knew anything about the aircraft industry, not the technical aspect and even not the financial aspect. But through bluff and bluster, especially on the part of Pina, who was an engineer by profession, we managed to get a very good news from Ghana. A few weeks after our return to Ghana, the aircraft was flown to Accra and was due to be delivered to Ghana. Fourthly, when we assumed the bureaucratic and technocratic leadership of the PADC Committee of Secretaries in 1982 of a country gripped with revolutionary fervor into calmer waters, making it possible to transition to a constitutional dispensation in 1993. and faith management, previous lives and works show that account disposition is an essential quality in politics and government. At the time he was appointed to the non-constitutional position on Kensington, Accra. Some members of the cabinet at the time say Accra felt that PB had usurped his position and was generally very uncooperative towards him. Nonetheless, PB in his usual calm disposition managed to contain the situation, knowing very well that President Barry Rawlings had a reason for creating the situation that he had created. Ultimately, the situation imploded, and it was Accra who had to leave the NDC-NCP Progressive Alliance and join forces with John Otumfuo's MPP, becoming his vice presidential candidate for the 1996 presidential election. I'm sure many of you who are alive and remember what happened in the cabinet. I don't know if the people who were there still strong to see this. One day they tell the true story of whether I was assaulted or he called his seat himself. We don't need to learn. You remember that this was what led to the bizarre and constitutionally anomalous situation in which Professor Naka, as the sitting vice president of the ruling NDC, was at the same time the vice a safety management. Previous lives and works have taught us that you can take the vicissitudes of political life in your stride with fortitude and actions. When the people were prepared for the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice for investigation by his own president, he did not complain, he did not resist, he did not resign. He and his wife went through the investigative procedure and processes with all the humiliation and embarrassment that accompanied it. Rather, it was after the investigation was concluded and he had been exonerated that PB chose to resign from the government. His dignity was restored and was used by all subsequent presidents of the Fourth Republic, including my humble self, until his untimely death in 2014, just after the National Economic Forum in Sydney. 7. Previous lives and works teach us that as a politician, you should let your deeds and your works speak for you. A lobbying politician is not often respected other people's views. And this ends in respect among leaders of all leaders of the political divide. He was indeed a humble servant of the nation, a man of the water and the towel, washing the feet of all people in true godly service. He found joy in reverent service through the Catholic faith, and hence Pope Benedict the 16th honored him in 2009 with the knighthood of St. Gregory the Great. The lessons of PB's affinity to his Catholic faith is simple. Politics and Christianity are compatible. And the ninth, like Christianity, sports and politics are compatible, and so are PB's life and works. He carried his love for sports from Otumfuo Secondary School to the Department of Human at the University of Science and Technology and into his political life. He played hockey for Watts and Katanga for Musu. He was a regular and active participant in the Blue 4 Fun Games. He always captained the PMC Committee Secretary's team, which played against the side captained by Jerry Rollins. He was an unapologetic supporter of Fabulous Kumasi Asante, and he served the club for several years. In 2002, he was appointed chairman of the Asante Board of Directors. Clearly from the life and works of PB, sports and politics do mix. Chairman, the 10th and final lesson that we have learned from PB's lives and work is patriotism. In both his professional and political careers, PB was patriotic. As an engineer of Mahama Fisheries Limited, PB displayed such patriotism that the founder and executive chief executive of the company, Obeng, literally adopted him as his son. PV literally dragged Mr. Obeng into the revolution. The following are the words of President Rawlings as contained in the tribute he wrote for PV on his death. He said PV was also instrumental in getting his friend and boss, Robert Obeng of Mahama fisheries, to supply fish, often free of charge to the barracks, to help us contain the hungry and angry soldiers. Mahama also made fish supplies available at vantage points across the country, and this selfless action of Robert Obeng almost bankrupted the company. PV and President Hamels were like inseparable political Siamese twins when it came to patriotism. President consulted in the most difficult and intractable situations, and PV reciprocated this trust with an unparalleled and unalloyed display of loyalty to him. And I know this because I was there as Professor Wilson's vice president. As the fourth president of the Fourth Republic, I've already laid out my soul in my introductory reference to my tribute on the occasion of PV's untimely death. However, there's one paragraph in the tribute I did not quote in my introductory remarks, and this is it. I quote, I've leaned on the hard-working, optimistic, and unifying people of India on so many occasions when we as a nation were confronted with an unprecedented situation of a sitting president's death. I recall PV's regular encouragement to me, John, it shall be well. God is with you. He used to say. And I remember very vividly how PV spent several long hours with me during those tragic and trying times of our nation to provide strategic and timely advice and guidance on many issues of national importance. Quotations closed. Patriotism is not a commodity that can be bought off the shelf. It is inculcated, and we should all cultivate that spirit of patriotism to our nation. The game of politics will not be as difficult to play as we have made it appear to be. In conclusion, by way of conclusion, I ask myself, what would be a phenomenal politician and political philosopher have done about the current events unfolding in the country today if he was alive? Politically, he would have strongly advocated for free, fair, and transparent elections in this coming term. We have called on President Otumfuo to state that as his commitments we have called on President Otumfuo to state that as his commitment as well, and would have demanded that he demonstrate that commitment to free, fair, and transparent elections in practical terms. PV, if he was alive, would have called on the Electoral Commission to eschew the partisanship imposed by the President due to the presence of the President's partisan appointees on the Commission. In the economic sector, PV would have called on the MSP administration to organize a national stakeholders conference on the economy with a view to achieving a safety economic forum type consensus on the direction the economy must take. We would also have called for serious house cleaning at the Bank of Ghana and for heads to go at some state-owned enterprises. PV would have advocated for strengthening the health system, including rapid automation of the health sector, innovative financing of healthcare, and improvements in education from the basic to the tertiary level. Still in the social sector, PV would have charged civil society organizations, NGOs, and faith-based organizations, especially the Christian and Muslim groups, to speak out on the ills going on in our society. Enabling a government to make an unprecedented call for a national conference of organizations to enable them to speak with one voice on national issues. PV would have done all those and more because he was a genuine patriot and loved his nation. It was a view with a sense of mission, forthrightness, and was honest in reform. Ladies and gentlemen, PV would not have remained silent. He would have spoken out. In his absence, it is our time to speak. It is our time to speak out, to speak truth to power. And the power refuses to act, it will be our time to act out what we would have spoken. Let me end by saying PV Obeng was a phenomenon, was a political colossus. His love for Ghana was one of his greatest attributes, and was one of the reasons that motivated me to appoint him to serve in my government in the presidency. I look forward to appointing many such people like PV was, who love Ghana, besides whatever professional or other qualifications they might possess in my next government from January 2nd. May the memory of Sir Engineer Dr. Paul Obeng continue to remain in our hearts, and may he continue to rest in perfect peace.
We have heard so many words from the speakers about his life. It says to all that he is a legend, an icon, a peacemaker, a great leader, and a man of tolerance. He was also a lawyer and a teacher of a cuisine, an academician, a politician, a man of faith. He was a committed social democrat, a man human rights in his field. Someone called him 1,000 in school. I think it was from our hall. 1,000. Indeed, he's a 1,000. No, I don't know why. If you enter arts or science, it seems like people combine both science and arts. Based on what he was able to achieve and accomplish in his life. His wife described him as a man of humility and wisdom. I was a little bit sad when I heard that he was left the Bible in his family. I like to console the family, and he has done it to God. We are all his clothes. up to the seniors and he's trying to look up to us. We always wanted to know how we were doing and how we could be like them. Even though we were not that close, one day we wanted to be like them. And I'm an example of what was going on. I was a master, I stayed with him at home, and I admired his faith. So we have to look like him. We are all here to continue to God that is that. The documentary pointed out that he was like a chief. So now we have two others, two grade schools, Otumfuo and Hiahene. So he has two feathers in his hand. On the excellence president posed a question about the road out of the present nest. And he went on to elaborate on several attributes that the youth must take for. If we want the road out of this nest, we have to learn from the 10 pillars of living that he uses. We should be involved in activism. We should be academicians. We should combine politics and professionalism. We should have a calm disposition. You cannot help. I'm excited to know packing is not good. And it's been shown that speak for itself. It was not a God, but it is the fear of God and the fear of God. And as we heard everything that Otumfuo had already started, there was a winter when we came to cricket and field hockey. And as I said earlier, the captain is extremely so we can combine politics and sports. And we should not forget about patriotism. But our end here is that in all of this, we have claimed that he was a political philosopher, founding the major political parties, consummate politician, businessman, an industrialist, and a de facto prime minister. For someone who was four presidents, we have to be one of the kinds. And sometimes, sometimes from this place, where he has worked with great statesman. But as President John F. Kennedy said, ask not what the country can do for you, or what you can do to the country. And this is what Paul did for his country, his family, and his church. And we should all emulate it. So really appreciate all taking time to listen to the wonderful lectures and activities and disposition of our peace of faith. And we should not live here thinking that it's not the Bible. We should live here thinking that the cup is half full, not half empty. And we should let this passage have a cherished moment in all our hearts. And may the best peace. And I hope we come back again with more arguments, more bases, to show up that we have also done to add to helping that humanity. We should all be restored. Thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of the evening. Thank you, guys. actually make it a reality. We are grateful to you. And please tell Otumfuo that we are happy that he gave us a very, very good son to lead today's discussion. We are most grateful to you. We also want to thank the brothers who came with His Excellency the President, the Vice President, Professor Bishala, I also saw Mr. Judah somewhere. Judah, we are grateful to you for coming. And Dr. Kalisi Mahama, give me a wave. I can't find it. Kalisi, thank you very much. We also want to thank especially our Vice Chancellor. And the Vice Chancellor helped us in a lot of ways. That we cannot mention. But without this program, we have been access. There must be a concession. Thank you very much. Now we want to talk to the planning committee. This program was actually organized by two groups. One in Accra and the local organizing committee in Kumasi. And I want to acknowledge the work that this group did to bring today's function to us. I want to mention particularly the members of the planning committee in Accra. And one here, please stand up for the back. Professor Mahama Ahor. The great leader, Mr. Obeng, thank you very much. And for a local organizing committee, we have another bank service. Thank you very much. Mr. Saka is not with us. All of us to a reception for the senior government. All of us are invited to the senior government. So at this moment, Your Excellencies, with your permission, I will invite the Protestant Chapel to give us a closing prayer. Yes, my brothers and sisters from NBC, we thank you also very much for coming.
You are the beginning and the end, the Alpha and Omega. We give you praise, adoration, and thanksgiving for having started this program and ending successfully with us. We give you all the praise for all that went into making the plan and the implementation of this program a success. We thank you for our main speaker, for the wisdom and the ideas and the thoughts we have shared with us, from the life of our dear engineer, Dr. Obeng, whom with your wisdom will call to glory. We pray that the ideals and the principles we stood for in his entire life will be imbibed by us and will lead us for the national development to the glory of your name. As we are about living here, we pray for your traveling mercies. We pray for safety. We pray for peace to our nation. We pray that your glory and your blessing will continue to lead us. Thank you, Lord Jesus, for hearing our prayers. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
We want to